So we've got something really special to look at today. It's a journal called Dad, I Want to Hear Your Story. You know, one of those books with prompts that a child gives their father? Well, this dad actually filled it out. And the result? It's this incredibly raw, funny, and honestly really moving portrait of a man, told completely in his own words. And right off the bat, you know what you're in for. When he's asked about his least favorite household chore, his answer is just one single perfect word: bruh. I mean, come on. You know immediately this is not going to be some sanitized Hallmark version of a life story. This is the real deal. And his sense of humor? Oh, it's just as unfiltered. They ask him what he does better than anyone else in the family, and he claims to be by far the most modest person I know. That sharp, sarcastic wit just pops up everywhere, and it shows you a guy who really doesn't take himself too seriously. And, okay, he does not hold back. The prompt was, if you could do any one thing for a day, what would it be? And that was his answer. It's so unapologetically candid. But it's that kind of raw honesty, you know, that makes this whole thing so compelling. You feel like you're meeting a real person on these pages, not just some curated image. So let's rewind a bit. Let's go back to where his story really begins, the teenage years. And the way he describes himself, well, it might feel a little familiar. It's this mix of contradiction, a little bit of confidence, and a whole lot of confusion. And you can see his actual handwriting here. He tells us, I grew up poor in a bad hood. We moved a bunch, and it made it hard to make friends. You can just feel the weight of that, right? And you can start to see how that experience shaped the young man he was becoming.
So here's the picture he paints for us. He's this self-described, hopeless romantic with a lot of insecurities. He wore baggy clothes because he was skinny, and get this, his hair was gelled to a hard shell. These little details, they create such a vivid image of this specific kid from a specific time, just trying to figure it all out.
But, you know, alongside all those insecurities, there was also this. When he's asked about a typical Friday or Saturday night, he's just brutally honest. All that was on my mind was sex, sex, sex. It's that classic teenage contradiction, isn't it? Full of self-doubt one minute and then completely single-minded the next.
Then boom, right below that comment, he writes, I wish I had better guidance. And that one line just cuts through all the teenage bravado. It shows he's looking back not just with nostalgia, but with a real clear-eyed sense of what was missing in his life.
And that's the thing about this journal, right? It's not just a trip down memory lane. It's about the journey. We get to see how that insecure teenager grew and evolved into the man and father he is today. And wow, how dramatically his perspective has changed. And maybe nothing shows this evolution more clearly than his politics. He talks about voting for Bush after 9/11 and says, I fell for the American propaganda. I'm embarrassed by that. And now, if he were in charge of the country, his priorities are universal health care, free college, and higher taxes for the super rich. I mean, that's a complete 180 of his worldview. His definition of success has completely changed, too. It's not about money or status anymore. For him, success is pretty simple. It's important to not be a burden on anyone, but then he adds the really crucial part. For him, it's about relationships. He says, I want the people I love to feel my love, and I want to feel that love back. And that really brings us to the heart of this whole thing, doesn't it? His reflections on being a father. This is the why behind the whole book, and it's where he gets his most vulnerable and his most wise.
They ask him what advice he would give himself as a new father. And his answer, wow, it's powerful. Yell less, if ever, at all. He then explains, today I tell myself, I consider it a personal failure if I get upset and especially if I yell. That's not just advice. That's a confession, born from regret and a deep, deep desire to be better.
And then he writes this, and honestly, this might be the most vulnerable line in the entire journal. He says, I suspect my son will be a better dad to his young kid. That is such a humble admission of his own perceived faults. But it's more than that. It's a statement of incredible hope and pride in the man his son is becoming. So when things get tough, where does he find his own strength? In his own words, I talk to my family. And each person has a role. His brother helps him focus, his sisters give perspective, his wife is his safe space, and his son, he's a great listener who gives great advice. His whole foundation is built on those relationships he defines as success. So after all of this, after the poverty, the insecurities, the political evolution, the joys and regrets of being a dad, what is the ultimate wisdom he wants to pass down? Well, he sums it all up with this beautiful metaphor. Life is a mountain, he writes. No one ever makes it to the top. We just go up. Some fall, some settle, some go as high as possible. All our paths are different. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's such a powerful way to look at life, not as some race to a finish line, but as a completely unique journey for every single one of us.
So how does he advise we climb our own mountain? His guide is all about the journey, not the destination. It's about who you travel with. It's about laughing a lot, finding what brings you joy. And it's about your character, loving hard and being kind. And for him, the ultimate culmination of that whole journey, and if fate sees it fit, via Dad. It just brings his entire story full circle. Seeing this father's life laid so bare, the funny parts, the embarrassing parts, the beautiful parts, it leaves you with one last thought. His story was captured just because someone gave him a book and asked him to tell it. So it makes you wonder, what raw, honest, and incredible story is waiting to be told in your own family?